Alright, so I'm going to stream and record the rest of this league, which is 3 matches with 5 colored Niv. To show you the deck list. A lot of this is kind of taken from what trophy leader Claudio has been playing. He's been he has been skewing the deck a little bit more towards Teamer Rec. I don't know if it's necessarily appropriate for leagues because the leagues are still pretty diverse, and I've kind of come across that recently, like playing against a bunch of aggro and so forth. I played against Lotus Field combo twice in my last few games today. Not really doing terribly hot. Dovin's Veto has been pretty decent, though when I played against Espriorian, a control version, though I did end up losing, it was still, there was at least a couple games in there that were pretty good. Clothis was pretty decent as well. What else am I doing that's a little different here? I still play in main deck Oath of Kaya, kind of more of a hedge against aggro, at least in the leagues. I don't know if I would play this if I were to play in like a challenge or so forth. Sideboard is pretty straightforward. Again, kind of skewed towards Rec a little bit. I am playing a D-Spark here. The second D-Spark, I got one in the main. 2 hedge against. It's not bad versus Rec, but it's actually a little bit more for the mono green deck. That's what I'm more concerned about with playing D-Spark. I play against that probably the most out of anything. So again, Fatal Push, any kind of aggro matchup. Cletus is for the Bolus decks, and aggro in general. Shifting Ceratops is for like control and Rec. Same with Veto. Solongar's Command is kind of versatile right now. Can bring it in against mono green, but it also is pretty decent against the control decks. Rakdos Return is just really good in general, and any mid-range or just kind of grindy game. Slaughter Games for Rec as well, mainly for Rec as well, though it has applications elsewhere. And then another Clothis and Solar Blaze. Alright, so I'm going to get to the games. The queues aren't completely full right now. 453, which is more than it was before the combo bans that happened a few weeks back, but still hasn't gotten up to like the levels that it was when, for the first few months that Pioneer was around, when it was firing and there was like thousands of, at least 1,000 players active, 900 to 1,000. Not quite there yet, though. Playing in the leagues, it has definitely been a lot more diverse. I don't know how long that's going to continue with Team Rec being a popular deck right now. Again, I don't see it a lot in the leagues. You know, probably once every other league as of right now. But it seems to be getting more popular in the more competitive events. And as it picks up steam, it might start to see more play in the leagues. I don't know if it will. People may be a little fatigued with the deck, having gone through it in historic and standard. You may just not want to really, deal with it, either play it or play against it. Could be a reason why there's not a lot of people in the leagues right now. Could also be a reason people don't want to play it. It's just, from what I've heard. I've never played it or played against it outside of a few interactions in Modern and Pioneer. From what I understand, a lot of people don't enjoy it too much. We'll see, though. This match was against MRZ was against Esper Yorian. I won the first game and lost the next two, and then Subwheat Flesh was on Lotus combo, which I'm kind of surprised I won. All right, so let's see what we got. Joe Claudiums. I think they're usually on aggro. I played against them recently, or her, or they, I should say. I don't remember. Yeah, this is a keep. On the play, for sure. We could go turn 3 Uro. Hopefully we'll get a white source to be able to get play Teferi outer ends. I'm pretty confident that we'll eventually get there. Ketria. Mana Confluence. Oh, is this going to be Winota? Oh, that's not good. Alright. Play Overgrown Tomb. Pass. Well, they can't play. Well, if they get a red or a white source, they can play Winota. Here's our white source. We do have an answer. So the question is, do I hold up D-Spark? They didn't play a land, so I think what we want to do is we want to just continue to develop our mana. I could have also thought about bouncing a token, which maybe was a line there. But I think I want to just try to capitalize on them stumbling a little bit and try to progress to something. There's an if. As is right now, if they play their land, if they manage to get a land and have Winota, they're only going to get one hit. And that at that point, we could de-spark the Winota. So they missed on the land. There's a Tithe Taker. So I am going to play Niv here. Because again, if they hit a land, they're only going to get one hit because Tithe Taker is not a hit for them. It's not going to get them a look with Winota, I should say. And now we're just a lot really far ahead with this Niv. Yeah, and Bring the Light is going to be really good too. We'll ditch Cloth. This doesn't really do anything this match. Okay, so if they have Winota here, they don't. They just don't have Winota. Oh, now they do. Okay, so they're going to get 2 hits. I still am kind of cool with this, where we're at. We're at 21 life. We're going to sweep the board next turn as long as we survive. Yeah, that's fine. So we could kill here. It's indestructible. It's only going to deal 4 damage. I think we just block the most damage outside of here because we can we're not dead. We're going to Bring the Light and just sweep the board. That's 4, right? Yeah. Yeah, they just conceded to that. Okay, so D-Spark is okay. Fatal Pushes. Maybe Kalidas, Solar Blaze for sure. Don't like Clothis. Don't like Veto. Teferi is maybe okay. Nahiri is fine. Probably want to cut a Niv. Oath. cut it to fairy. They have a lot of 1/1s and haste dudes like Rabble Masters and Legion War Bosses, which that's not very good against. I don't know if I want so many D-Spark. The D-Spark does tag some of their more major guys like Angrath Marauders and Winota itself, and it's instant speed. So yeah, I think I'll keep it. Probably not Nicol Bolas. It does discard, but doesn't really do much else. Maybe I cut a Nahiri. They're pretty go wide. This kind of comes down after the fact. Question is, do I want so many 5s? Because I could see myself cutting a Niv. I don't really like Planeswalkers too much on the play against aggro or on the draw against aggro decks, so I think we'll go with this. Niv kind of does a better job of catching me back or catching you back up than Nahiri, which is my logic of keeping in all the 5 drops. It could be wrong though. It is also probably going to be too late at that point. So I feel like this hand's kind of a trap because we're a little slow with our mana and it allows them to develop a lot. We can interact with the Winota if they get there because we have the D-Spark. We do have green and blue. We're on the play. I'm going to keep, but I'm really shaky on this hand because it's just a little slow. I'm going to gamble that we're going to draw lands and get there, and then we have some interaction for them. Alright, so there's no turn 1 elf, which is great news. That'll slow them down a bit. We are going to lead on probably Indatha and then Overgrown, so we can decay. Or maybe, it depends on what they do, I guess, because then that, well, probably do that because we have double decay up, and that also allows us to leave up D-Spark, and then maybe play Earl on turn 4. We'll see how we draw. Don't particularly want to decay that. That's good, actually. We know what we're doing this turn now. That carried it was a solid draw. We blocked this for a long time. Okay, we have an answer to Winota, despite the spirit, with D-Spark because that exiles. Alright. I'm going to hold up for D-Spark for Winota. Legion War Boss. We'll try to kill this here. They'll probably sack the Selfless Spirit, which is... Oh, I forgot about this. That was a bad move. Well, we have Hour, which we can... If we draw, we can wipe the board a bit. They let that go. Okay. Yeah, I sometimes forget Voice. Can't play spells on their turn. So question is, do I want to... I could bounce the Voice and hold up. So I could just wipe their board here, but I also get rid of my Carried In. and they would still have a token. So I think I actually like bouncing the voice and then holding up despark or abrupt decay. See what they do next turn. So I think here we get blue because we have every color we need. Or do we bounce a token and kill the voice? I don't think so. And I'm doing this just so I could play on their turn, see what they do. Just kind of gives me more options, in my opinion. You know, I can either abrupt decay or I can despark on their turn. I don't mind if they attack down the Teferi. It's not going to do anything else this game besides buy me a turn, maybe. Tithe Taker. So here, seeing the Tithe Taker, they don't have Winota. I'm going to kill the Elemental, I believe, or do I try to go for Selfless Spirit? Black. Maybe it's Elf. No, you know what? We'll do I don't know if that's correct. I don't particularly like killing the elemental there, but we're not going to get much out of it anyways. So I think next turn I'm 100% going to Hour. So they have, they're looking to play Voice here. So if I play Hour, they're going to get 2 tokens. I could play Niv. If they have Winota, they would get a couple of triggers. They missed the land though, so I think the play here is to Hour and restrict them on mana. If they have the Winota, they have the Winota. Well, let me see. If I play Niv and they have Winota or some way to get it, how many triggers say they have? They can get at least 3 triggers with it, I think. And they've missed their land drop, and they haven't played Winota despite being able to. They'll get 2 tokens here if I play Hour. Niv, I have 2 blockers. It might be just Niv here. I don't think I'm dead regardless. And then we'll look to Hour next turn. Maybe hopefully kill like a Voice or something like that, so we can take out some of the tokens. Solar Blaze, Bring the Light. Both pretty good. That we're definitely 100% looking to play Hour next turn. Sure. So they're going to get 2 triggers here, which is fine. Pretty sure we could survive whatever they throw at it. I could chump block with the Sylvan if it's lethal, and then just try to make sure I keep Niv on board. All right, there's your triggers. They whiffed on one. That's a huge whiff. All right, so we're going to block here. I'm going to let the Spirit go because the Spirit ultimately doesn't matter with Hour of Devastation in my hand. Whereas if I block and kill the Voice of Resurgence, I could get rid of their token. Oh, they just conceded anyways. Okay, sure. All right, so 2-1. I have to change my stream info. There we go, updated. You were saying I was playing Modern, that was from a while ago. Haven't been playing much Modern lately. Sometimes it takes a little while to find an opponent in the leagues. Alright, oh, I forgot to. This is a little slow. I'm going to keep it though. These hands are always kind of questionable for me because we're really not looking at, like playing Carried It until turn 3. But it could be pretty good. I want to actually, I've been trying to track when, I forget what I was there. This one I'm on the play. Hopefully we draw into something so we can play carried it on turn 2. So this is probably blue-white control. No such luck. Yeah, thinking blue-white control, not spirits. Don't censor me. Yeah, he's censoring me. That's not good. Alright, blue-white control. Land. Alright. Gonna go here first. They're probably holding up a counter spell for Teferi. I think I just want to draw cards while I can, especially. No. So this match can end up being very long. We do have a decent sideboard for this match. Though I'm not really, like this deck has been on the downswing, so I don't necessarily play cards preparing for this. Here I still think we just play out another Uro. Like, Teferi is really nice, but they're just going to counter it. Rather develop my mana, try to get to what we're at now, or we could double spell. That's fine. Take 2. Okay, so they missed a land drop. So I'm thinking we could try to play Niv, but I don't think that's what we're going to do. I think we're going to try to go for Oath of Kaya plus Teferi here. So let's go here. Teferi first to play around Mystical Dispute. Yeah, they just had veto. Alright. We'll get another green. Is there anything else I need? We could use a black source, actually. We got double green, double black. We could probably use green, green, blue, blue. Yeah, we have enough for... Well, we needed to do that. Yeah, we needed to get a black source there anyways in order to be able to cast Oath of Kaya. Killer clock. It's not much of a clock, but... Next turn, depending on what they do, we'll either Niv or we'll Uro. I don't particularly like playing Niv into open mana. Though the counter spell suite tends to be Censor, maybe some. Now that they actually don't have a lot of mana open, I'm inclined to believe that they don't have a proper counter spell for Niv. So I'm just going to go for a Niv here. Red. We'll go green red here. Green red. I'll bring the light, sure, and a veto, which we can cast. White and blue. They are probably just going to Supreme Verdict, I imagine, but that's fine because then we can just bring the light again, still with veto backup. Sure. Blast them. Tag this. Tef is really good. So we could go here, then green, green, blue, blue. I guess we'll see what we get first here. Green, blue, green, blue. Little plus. They can't answer everything. It's my logic anyways. ECD, sure. What are you going to tag? Hero? Yeah. Makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So we can't. We can't bounce yet. Here. I was looking to bounce and then replay Niv, which we couldn't do yet. We don't have a Niv for it. This way too, we could kill anything that they play with Dreadbore with besides Teferi 3. They go ECD here, sure. So another ECD down. I actually think I just want to bring the light here because I might get a way to exile that or destroy it. Yep, we did. Cloth, this is really good here too. So they burned through 2 ECDs. And we can probably just plop down a Clothis. There's Teferi. We can kill that. Plus, they have another way to get rid of Niv. Supreme Verdict? Sure. So here, we're going to get rid of there. I think we do want the mana. before they get any value out of that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. We could bounce the Oath of Kaya and then play Clothis, or we can wait. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Bounce Oath of Kaya, play it, burn them out. I kind of like just holding up for another Niv. Because then we could just kill him next turn for sure with bouncing the Oath of Kaya. Is this another Teferi? Teferi, Hero of Dominaria. Sure. That's not going to do much in the face of what I have. Dig, sure. With Blast Zone up, they're just dead now. We'll just bring the light for another Niv, and then we could bounce our own Oath of Kaya and kill him. Red, black. Yeah, they saw it. They saw the line. All right, so Veto for sure. Ceratops, Scarab God, Silgar's Command, Rakdos Return, Clothis, maybe Despark and Slaughter Games, but we'll start here. Take out some Bring the Lights, Hour, Oath, at least 2 Caryatids. Okay. So, I don't know if I like going down so much on Caryatid, but it doesn't, it's kind of a dead draw. Despark is good against multiple things they play, so maybe we play a Despark, cut an Abrupt Decay, and cut another Caryatid. I can also see cutting all Caryatids, though I don't, with such a high curve, I don't know if I like that. I could also cut more Bring the Lights, to be honest with you. I do want to be pretty threat heavy, but I don't want the curve to be clunky high, and I don't want too many answers. I mean, I want answers. We want plenty of answers, but Decay's narrow for the most part. Despark hits Big Teferi, Shark Typhoon if they cast it in ECD. Close this. They'd probably bring in Narset. Maybe we don't play Command, counter target non-creature spell. That seems not bad though. We can kill a Planeswalker and counter spell there. Nahiri deals with ECDs. I think I like this. Yeah, we'll try this and we'll see how it feels. Maybe it is just cut all Caryatids. Probably don't need such a heavily skewed to control sideboard. Makes sideboarding a little bit awkward when you have so much you want to bring in. This looks good. Can't ask for much better. We're gonna play. I think I'm gonna play Drowned Catacomb. And that way I could just have blue down, because now I can play tap Temple Garden and then Rootbound Crag. I don't have white yet. It's not bad. So we're gonna look to go, depending on what they do, cloth this. Cloth this next turn. Oh, sorry, a cat decided to join. So we're gonna go cloth this here. Okay, got the sensor out. You figured they have sensors on the when they're on the play, but I'm okay with playing cloth this out there because I have a bunch of 4s that I want to be casting next turn anyways. So we're fine with something getting tagged with sensor. Dovin's Veto, okay. So I think we just go for Nahiri here, then Ceratops, and then we look to do Nicol Bolas plus hold up Veto. What are we gonna need? I guess. Well, we won't need black, so probably just get green or. I don't like this in the face of ECD. Elspeth Conquers Death, I should say, because this is one of my answers, but countered. Censor, okay. No, again, fine with that. Maybe could have played around it by playing Shifting Ceratops and then gone Nahiri next turn, and that maybe was what I should have done. Actually, thinking back at it, probably is what I should have done. So there's a D-Spark. Okay, so we could probably afford to take Pain here. We have enough green, we have enough green. Can't be countered. They could have Aether Gust, in which case I probably would just put this back on top again. Okay. They're probably digging for the Aether Gust. Give it haste. There's nothing they could do for 3 mana. Not anything they could do to this for 3 mana anyways. And the only thing they have to answer this is a Verdict or a Gust. And if they have Gust, I'll just probably put it back on top because they're going to have a hard time answering it. Or they have Blaststone now too, so Blaststone does actually answer this. But if they want to spend they want to spend all their time trying to tick up to nab Blaststone, be my guest. I am going to now look to ride the Ceratops, basically. I will play out the Carried It here. And I could still have Veto and D-Spark up. I don't want to play into a Supreme Verdict where they wipe my entire board. So they're going to scry. It does represent lethal next turn, but I don't have an answer for Supreme Verdict. What represents lethal would be playing Nicol Bolas. Does represent lethal next turn, but I don't have an answer to Supreme Verdict, and I don't want to play into that. So I don't mind playing this a little slower especially because I have a veto and a despark to kind of answer a lot of stuff that they do. So I'll veto, yeah, we'll veto here. They can have their own veto. It's fine. They conceded. Okay, sure. I don't know what happened there. Oh, veto. Can't be countered. Can't be countered. There you go. Yeah, can't do it. I just saw them playing veto, and I assumed that meant they could counter it, but that's right. Dovin veto can't be countered. All right, so we're at least going to go 3-2, which is nice. I've been struggling a little bit lately, so let's hope for a 4-1. It'll be my last game of the stream. I have my cat sitting on my PC tower, watching me intently as I play here, so I have a small audience of a couple right now, including her. Last match. Gima. I think I actually just saw this person on Claudio's stream. They're playing some sort of red-green beatdown deck. So with that in mind, we could probably keep this, and we want to play Fabled Passage, get Forest into Rootbound Crag. Yield until next end step. Some sort of 2-drop, and I think they're like kind of like a Bushwhacker deck. Burning Tree Emissary seems to suggest that to me. And I am still going to get Forest so I can play the Rootbound Crag here. Spark I don't think is going to end up being a good draw. But, I mean, that's, yeah, if you play a lot of powerful spells, but not everything lines up against what your opponents are doing. I think I'm more apt to... So I don't think they'll have a pump spell. Well, they could. I'm not keen on taking 4, but they could have Gorklan. I do know they play at Tarka's command. Okay, so we're going to let this go because it's not worth it. We're a little screwed on mana. We're very screwed on mana right now. I can't even play Teferi. Alright, so we'll just go kill there. And I don't think there's any reason to kill Burning Tree over Scavenging Ooze. I think Burning Tree is mostly just there to get the busted Reckless Bushwhacker draws, not for anything like, not for any kind of Nykthos shenanigans or whatever. So it looks like Coco's being held up. We need to try to find a land. That's not a land. Oof. Another Scoos. Alright. We're pretty dead. Not gonna lie. So they don't have another collected company up. They could have a Tarkus command here. So it's 8, 10. A Tarkus command would be 13, 14, 15. Plus 3 would be lethal if they have a Tarkus command, actually. They do. Okay. Whoa, it's not lethal. Doesn't matter, though, because this land doesn't even do anything at this point. So what can I do? Nope, just a handful of nibs. Can't even literally cast anything. Yeah, can't cast anything. Alright. Push. Take out D-Spark, take out Veto. I'm not big on Clothis here. I like Oath of Kaya. Silumgar's command. Target creature gets -3 until end of turn. Counter target non-creature spell. It's kind of nifty. Probably take out a Niv. We don't want too many 5s. Teferi. I don't like Nicol Bolas either. I want stuff that kills stuff. So maybe we keep a Niv. Or maybe it's Kalidas. It's probably Kalidas actually, right? Yeah. Let's go here. Yes. Let's hope we don't get stuck on 2 lands. Alright, we're not getting stuck on 2 lands, and we can cast spells, except we can't cast Fatal Push. Black is probably our 3rd most repped color, so the chances of drawing it are okay. This hand is great if we get draw black. It's medium. We are on the play. We will get to Teferi. So I think we do keep it. Kind of gamble. We will get a draw with Teferi. A single black source unlocks this hand. Elf, sure. Spellbreaker, haste, sure. So no on the black source or even a land in general so far. Take up their next turn. There's the black source. So they have to, they could choose between killing the Teferi or casting their Coco. They're choosing kill the Teferi. Ronus, sure. The question is, do I kill an elf? I kind of feel like what might happen is my next turn, they're going to play, they could get Spellbreaker, but they would have to give it +1/+1 in order to attack with Ronus. Regardless, I think we can afford to hold up the Fatal Push here and see what they do, get more information before we make a decision. So this is actually cool because we could force the collected company here, and we could sweep their board. Okay. Seeing that, the land I like actually bring the light here. My life total is pretty high. If they attack in with Ronus, or maybe what I do is I thinking about this actually. So we'll play out the island. Can they kill me? That's the question. At 17, I go and I get Nif. Can they kill me still? Likely not if I block. So I think I just get Niv, and I'm going to have to take some damage. Green, red, white. Is there anything else that I can get? I could utter end, but I don't like that. I like just living here. Row. It's a lot of stuff. And we'll ditch. Here, and probably Tef, or maybe a Dreadbore. Don't think I need all those Dreadbores. So they still have to pump or play another creature in order to attack in with Ronus. We can't do anything about the Skylasher, though we can kill it with either Abrupt Decay or Fatal Push. So they're going for giving it +1/+1. Sure. Attacking with the Ronus. Why not? So we can go and we could for sure get Uro here if we kill 2, 3, 4. Yeah, we could kill the Spellbreaker. Well, actually, maybe what we do is we kill the Skylasher, because that's protection for blue, so that'll just get in no matter what. So let's think about it. We'll play there. We could go kill here. Is it? If we kill the Spellbreaker, they have to pump in order to attack with Ronus, though, which is kind of cool. I think that's the jam. Next turn, we'll look to bounce Ronus, and we could kill Skylasher probably. Sure. Death Touch, Trample. As 9, put me to 4. Sure. So now figure out what we want to do here. We could basically get rid of everything on the board, right? We can here, bounce. I don't think I particularly care about taking more damage. There we go. Or particularly care for taking more damage, I should say. All right, so we got there. All right, on the draw, do we change anything? I think of one other end for specifically for Ronus. I think I mostly don't want to change anything. Anything else I want to bring in? No. The other Niv? No, I don't think so. I feel like we only really need 1 or 2 Nivs to win. So maybe we even bring in Nicol Bolas. I don't really like Nicol Bolas against aggro decks. You can often attack through it. Niv for 1 more mana. It is 1 more mana, but it is harder to attack through. With anything that they have, this could be attacked with even like a Spellbreaker, for example, and you just trade, and that sucks. I mean, you do get him to discard a card, but no, I think we're just going to go with this. Teferi on the draw. It buys you time. I think I'm going to keep this. Again, as I said earlier, I'm not particularly fond of Planeswalkers on the draw against aggro-ish decks. This is a good hand. We'll keep this for sure. But I think Teferi at least has some utility. It could buy you a lot of time and so forth. All right, so that's what we want to see essentially. We want to see them play out Ndatha because we have an island, so this will be a little bit better for our colors early on. Get the white. Okay, they have a really slow draw, which is a very good sign for us. Play Rootbound. So we're probably going to get to even get down this Teferi while under no duress at all. So Emissary into Skoos. We'll bounce Skoos and kill Emissary. We could kill both too here right now and just play Bring the Light next turn, which is kind of nice. I actually think we just want to get to that mana there. We want to get to Bring the Light mana, so we'll go black, green. Kill Skoos. Oh, whoops, not black green, sorry, black red. Kill Skoos. Probably play, doesn't matter, I guess, Zagoth. Hey Tupi, it's going well. How you doing? We're in game 3. This is my last match of the league. I gotta eat after this, so this will be my last game. We're pretty far ahead here, I think. Sure, we'll take that hit. They had a really slow hand here, game 3, and we're just gonna be able to get down and Niv here and just kind of probably take over. Yeah, just in time, I know, right? Alright, so now I have double Bring the Light. I'm pretty sure they don't really have much they could do about this now. Niv. Yeah, this looks plenty over. Uro, we already have Bring the Light, so we'll get Uro. Decay, yeah. At this point, I don't know what they could do on 3 mana. Maybe they have 4. Collected Companies, if they have that, it's not bad, but I could slam Teferi. I could slam Teferi and kind of enter the board here. You know, they have to, if they have Coco, they have to play the Coco now. And it just gives me a lot of information to see what I want to do. Bushwhacker, sure. I don't particularly like bouncing a Bushwhacker. We will play out our land. I guess we bounce this. I want to kill the Spellbreaker. But I could just block it with Nid next turn. So I guess, and it does take up their turn, more of their turn. So I guess we just do bounce the Spellbreaker here. Sure, you can get rid of that. It's fine. Elf, sure. Now, do I use my mana and cast Abrupt Decay on a Bushwhacker? I think I do, because I want to get spells in the yard to bring back my Uro. That's nice. All right, so green doesn't matter here. Go here. Blue, blue, green, green. Yeah, Bushwhacker also costs cheaper, so like they would have been able to surge the Bushwhacker there. So I think bouncing the Spellbreaker is correct, and I'm just going to attack here because I want to get them dead. There's really no sequence that they have, I don't think, that's going to really get them out of this. You know, now I have like backup removal spells, backup Uro, you know, backup. You know, bring the light to get whatever I need, answer whatever I need. So, I don't... Yeah, Uro is a messed up card. I don't know if Uro... I hear a lot of people talk about Uro being, you know, maybe that's the next ban. All right, nice, we got there. I know people talk about Uro being like the next ban, maybe. I don't know if it's there yet. I think it's just the best mid-range card you can be playing right now. It's not like ubiquitous to the like in the format. Generally, if you're playing blue-green in your mid-range deck, you are playing Uro. So I mean, there is that mid-range control, I should say. So you know that is something to look at and consider. With the power level, the sets that I expect coming up, it may be that there's something that kind of matches or is able to combat it. So I think it is something that I think we need to take some time to figure out how. Yeah, there's answers to it too. So I don't know if it needs to be banned, but I definitely agree with you that it's a really, really good card, especially in these aggro matchups. All right, so thanks for. No, people don't like playing against Uro at all. And I get it. I mean, I don't mind playing against it, but that's because I play an Uro deck, and we tend to be pretty good against Uro decks, maybe except for Team Rek. We could grind pretty well. Like Sultai, we were able to grind fairly well against. So I don't mind playing against Uro at all. But from like another standpoint, I could just see how annoying it really is to play against. So I get that. It just constantly comes back. It's cheap. It's efficient. You know, the fact that it draws, you know, gets it, like, basically builds up itself, especially in these spell-heavy decks. So it just comes back a lot. Anyways, yeah, we went 4-1. I finished kind of a lot of this is what like Claudio has been playing. I have some changes. So, you know, like the Dovin's Veto, I put one main because I was expecting more control, and I kind of was rewarded. It did some work against both Esper Yorian, and it essentially won me the game, or closed out the game against Blue-White Control there. So I don't know if I would play it main still, especially in leagues, because I don't think leagues really have a ton of control yet. But I do think 2 is good right now because Team Erect is on the rise, at least somewhere in the 75. Clothis, it came out a lot, but there were still matchups. I know Nikki B's sweet. Clothis was good. I felt like, you know, maybe 1 is good enough. Maybe I felt like 2 was too much. I did feel like I had too much for a sideboard for control here. So there's something here I kind of don't want to play. It might be a D-Spark. Maybe the second D-Spark is a little too much. But I kind of feel like it's the Clothis. I like Slaughter Games. Slaughter Games is kind of your out to a lot of like the combo decks and so forth. It's also not bad against Team Erect. With more diverse threats, they will likely expansion your Slaughter Games when you cast it. But, you know, if you're bringing in Clothis, if you're bringing in Scarab God, if you're bringing in, you know, you keep in Nikki B, you generally have threats that they still need to answer. So I still like it there. Nicol Bolas is, to me, it's good. He's sweet. He's fun. He's good he is good against like control decks, which seem to be on the rise again a little bit with Team Erect. It's also not dead versus aggro, so I like cards like this because every matchup you draw it, you don't mind drawing it. Having that said, it's not. I find Nikki B, except in the grindy matchups when it goes really, really late, is almost never great. It's always just good. It's a solid card. You like having it. You like having access to it. Once you get into a later game against like the Mirror or Control, and you know they're down on a few cards, whatever else, you flip it. It kind of can take over on its own. So I do like that aspect of it. Would discard help versus control? Yeah, discard definitely helps versus control. I find discard is not as good right now because, I mean, it's hard to really describe it, but I do like discard, and I tend to usually play. Yeah, so you're thinking of Thought Erasure. I do like discard, and I tend to play Thought Erasure, Thoughtseize a lot over more counter spells. However, I feel like decks like Team Erect are better at top decking because Team Erect, for example, can generally get to a ton of mana no matter what, even without Rec, and start scrying through their deck. So they can set up the top of their deck a lot better, and I feel like cards like Thoughtseize and Thought Erasure, which are good with kind of early and taking away their hand, but later on in the game, even if they have a lot of cards still, is not as good. So I feel like you more want to answer the board, like against control, for example, you more want to answer the board or keep, or not necessarily answer the board, but make them answer your board or keep them off key cards, which is why I feel like Dovin's Veto is maybe a little bit better right now. It's also why I'm playing more effects like D-Spark, because I would rather destroy the Wilderness Wreck after it gets on board. Maybe the damage is already done at that point, true, but I found over time that the discard spells weren't really, better to be proactive with counters. I mean, counters are more reactive and the discards are more proactive, but I feel like the counters are kind of, at this point, a little bit more robust. They kind of can answer more problematic cards. Yeah, Teferi plus counters is also really sweet. I feel like the Rakdos Return is excellent right now. Having said that, I don't know if I want more cards for control. I feel like I always want more Rakdos Return. It's just won me so many games against control decks, against Rec, against blue-white. Like, especially if you go Tef if you plop a Tef and they don't answer it, and you can untap with Rakdos Return, wow, chef's kiss. It's incredible. It's basically instant win button against any kind of control deck. But yeah, I basically liked what this was doing. There's not too much I would change. It would just be kind of looking at, I did play a good healthy dose of aggro. I did like Cletus there. I think 4 Fatal Push is, you need them. Shifting Ceratops was very good against blue-white. I don't think I saw it against Esper. And I normally am on in this slot like this 4 mana green beater questing beast, but I haven't been seeing too much of the planeswalker decks lately. So I think maybe shifting Ceratops at this point is a little better. Other cards I'm interested in trying, maybe Oath of Kaya, maybe you don't need it. I do want another removal and life gain against aggro, especially in the leagues. I'm thinking aggro might be an answer to Team Erect, so they could be on an uptick. I don't know. I know Team Erect plays like Anger of the Gods, which is excellent against the mono black. I don't know how it is necessarily against any kind of red deck. I kind of have to see that as we go forward. I do want 2 Dovin's Veto somewhere in the 75, at least 1 D-Spark. I'm surprised I didn't see mono green. I still think Devotion is a very good deck right now. That's a big reason why I'm playing Silgar's Commands. Whoops, I just took it out. There we go. So I just did 4-1 with this. I also, previous league I did really poorly. I think I went 0-3. Might have been 0-3, but I had a 4-1 in here today with I had a 4-1 with 80 card Niv. I do think 60's better. Though if Rec is more of a thing, 80 might be better. I've actually had pretty good. I've played against Rec with this deck a lot, and I've actually had some pretty decent results. If I remember correctly, I might be 2-1, or 2-2, but the matches were actually, there was only one match that wasn't close, and the other 2 were really close. I actually think I've beat Rec with this deck twice. There's probably some things I would change. Thought erasures into vetoes. Maybe not so many I think maybe Oath of Kaya. Not so many D-Spark now. Maybe not enter the God Eternal's main and play like Dovin's Veto. So this might be what I try again next. I have been playing a bit more of the 80 card Niv lately. So I want to go back to 60 for a minute though, just to see how it is. And 4-1 is, a very good record. Yeah, so the thing with 80, I feel like 80 against control decks is a little better. So the longer the game goes, 80 gets better because we can play. Yeah, you can play more answers. You worry about seeing all your answers, but the thing is we can. The thing that I like about 80 against the control decks is you could diversify more. So, you could play the. You have Yorion. You basically have access to Yorion every game guaranteed. I have more room. You play in all 4 Uros now. You could bring in a lot more diverse threats. You could bring in multiple Rakdos Return. Now, you're less likely to see these cards. That is true because you're paying, and that is a big deal. Like for example, I lose a lot to aggro with this deck because I've had multiple games where I just don't see removal, period, at all. I'll have a similar deck to this. I'll bring in Extinction Event, bring in Deafening Clarion, and I'll still have in Fatal Pushes, Dreadbore, Abrupt Decay, Oath of Kaya, and we'll go 5-6 turns and not see a single removal spell at all. Any way to remove the board whatsoever, including Solar Blaze, Hour of Devastation, Bring the Light, nothing. Nothing. I've had a couple games like that. So it is real. That is very much in the realm of possibility. It also, I find, it tends to flood or screw a little bit more, just because more cards, kind of higher variance. So I do think it gets a little better with a more grindy meta. Maybe not necessarily with Team or Rec, because Rec is kind of just Rec is a control deck, but it's kind of like it's a control deck with an I win button, right? Kind of like a Scape Shift in Modern, Team or Scape Shift in Modern. Yes, so the 80 card is not as good versus fast decks. I've been having a lot of trouble against mono green, for example. So a lot of players, including Gabe Nassif, if you ever watch his streams when he's playing Niv, he talks a lot about how he feels like he has a strong mono green devotion matchup. But with the 80 card version, you're a lot less likely to see your powerful cards. That's actually or your cards that are good in that matchup. That's why I was playing for D-Spark. Because a few days ago, I was seeing mono green at least twice every league, and I wasn't seeing my D-Sparks. I wasn't seeing my Fatal Pushes early. So like I was really struggling to keep them off balance, and they were just kind of able to flood their board. And by the time I started seeing these important cards, it kind of didn't really matter. Also, against a deck like mono green, it's really important to see your Caryatid, or just any deck really in general. It's important to see a Caryatid early and to ramp, to see your Uro early. Ramping is huge with this deck. So, and then finding your Nivs. So you want to get to like a turn 4 Niv as frequently as you possibly can. It's still one to, or not, if not the best draw in the deck. So against anything, because it's, you know, it gets you a lot of answers, it gets you key spells, and it's something that they have to answer. So once you force them to start having to answer your board, and you have a grip full of powerful cards still, you're a little bit of ahead. Is there a combo we could play in the 80 card version to hedge against the fast decks? I mean, to hedge against fast decks, I would just, you know, I would play more, I don't know if spot removal. This is kind of the direction I went with it. You know, Fatal Push, and Fatal Push is by far your best card against fast decks. But I would play, you know, more Oath of Kai's for life gain. I would probably maybe play 3 Oath of Kai's if you really want to get hedge against fast decks. You know, Enter the God Eternals is really good if you're seeing a lot of red with Torbrand. Otherwise, I would play Tulsimer. You know, and just kind of maybe build your sideboard a little bit more for the fast decks. Maybe like more Deafening Clarions. I was playing Radiant Flames for a minute there. You know, definitely probably don't need all these D-Sparks. You know, I would play like, you know, and some of the big spells are even decent against fast decks. It just depends on what they are. You know, Solar Blaze is not good against red, but it's good against mono green. You can play more Solar Blaze. You know, Extinction Event. So you just probably want to up your removal, sweep, life gain, or sweepers. I find I'm not as big on sweepers. I like having at least 3 sweepers, generally speaking, in 80 card. But I find against, you know, if you're worried about like black, you know, spot Extinction Event is good against black, but black, you know, you kind of, spot removal is not great against them. But you do want to, you know, have some early interaction. Red is, these Oath of Kai's are really good. Oath of Kai is kind of good in a lot of the aggro matchups, period, because it just buys you a lot of time on removing a creature. So yeah, I would just basically hedge on playing a little bit more sweepers, spot removal in your side, and 75. Yeah, wish Helix was legal. Yeah, Helix being legal would break this deck wide open. Helix would be huge, for sure. Would go really solid in this deck. Yeah, if you're seeing a lot of aggro, I would kind of go, and if you like the 80 card version, I would maybe just add in like another Oath of Kaya, maybe over like a D-Spark, you know, something like this. You know, I would go there. As is with 80 card version, I do like playing the 2 D-Spark main, because I kind of feel like our aggro matchup is still okay, you know, but you are more likely to hit bad end of variance. So yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna try 60 card again for my next league. I'm gonna do something like this. But anyways, I gotta get going. I got dinner that I have to get. That I gotta go pick up. So I'm going to try to record more videos and stream a little bit more. I will be posting in the NIV Discord when I do so. Yeah, you're welcome. Thanks for the follow. Actually, I just saw that you followed 26 minutes ago. Sorry for not giving you a shout out. Yeah, but I'll post in the NIV Discord if any of you are in there when I'll be going live. And also, I'm going to be trying to post these videos up on YouTube, possibly within the NIV channel that actually got made. If you're part of the NIV Discord, one of the members in there posted or made a YouTube account where you could subscribe to and watch more content. Yeah, the NIV Discord is great. It's probably the Discord. I play NIV, 5-color NIV, and Pioneer the most. So the NIV Discord, especially particularly the Pioneer piece of it, I'm very active in. There's a lot of good players in there. Like if you look at like here, like Claudio's in there. Claudio's very active. Japanese Fisherman he's not, but there's like there's a lot of really good players in there, good NIV players, and they're constantly talking, posting their decks. A lot of positive support in the group and so forth. So I think the NIV Discord is one of the better Discords I'm a part of in general. Shout out to them. And I'm very active in there just because I play NIV a lot. So it is definitely a good resource because there's a lot of good players and there's a lot of people doing different things to try to figure out the meta. So like just really trying to stay on top of things. It's one of the best things to have access to right now. Anyways, yeah, I'll be posting these. I'm going to try to post the video. Thanks everyone for joining the stream, and hopefully I'll be able to get to do this soon. Take care and have a good night.